Discover yourself, who you are, what you can do in your life. Let's ask from brain to think and talk to act accordingly.
Hello, welcome to Decorators in Python. You ever heard about decorators? Don't be confused. If you don't know, in Python, decorator is a design pattern that allows you to modify the functionality of a function by wrapping it in another function. The outer function is called the decorator, which takes the original function as an argument and returns a modified version of it. Prerequisites for learning decorators. Before we learn about decorators, we need to understand a few important concepts related to Python functions. Also, remember that everything in Python is an object. Even functions are objects. Nested function. We can include one function inside another, known as a nested function. For example, here, we have created the inner function inside the outer function. Pass function as argument. We can pass a function as an argument to another function in Python. For example, in the above example, the calculate function takes a function as its argument. While calling calculate, we are passing the add function as the argument. In the calculate function, arguments function x, y become add 4 and 6 respectively. And hence, func x, y becomes add 4, 6, which returns 10. Return a function as a value. In Python, we can also return a function as a return value. For example, in the above example, the return hello statement returns the inner hello function. This function is now assigned to the greet variable. That's why when we call greet as a function, we get the output mentioned earlier. A Python decorator is a function that takes in a function and returns it by adding some functionality. In fact, any object which implements the special call function method is termed callable. So, in the most basic sense, a decorator is a callable that returns a callable. Basically, a decorator takes in a function, adds some functionality, and returns it. Here, we have created two functions. Ordinary that prints I am ordinary. Make_pretty that takes a function as its argument and has a nested function named inner, and returns the inner function. We are calling the ordinary function normally, so we get the output I am ordinary. Now, let's call it using the decorator function output. In the example shown above, makePretty function is a decorator. Notice the code. Now passing the ordinary function as the argument to the makePretty function. The makePretty function returns the inner function, and it is now assigned to the decorated func variable. We are actually calling the inner function, where we are printing at symbol with decorator. Instead of assigning the function call to a variable, Python provides a much more elegant way to achieve this functionality using the @ symbol. For example, here, the ordinary function is decorated with the makePretty function decorator using the @make_pretty syntax, which is equivalent to calling ordinary equals make_pretty ordinary function. Decorating functions with parameters. The above decorator was simple and it only worked with functions that did not have any parameters. What if we had functions that took in parameters like this function has two parameters, a and b? We know it will give an error if we pass in b as 0. Now let's make a decorator to check for this case that will cause the error. Here, when we call the divide function with the arguments 2, 5, the inner function defined in the smart_divide decorator is called instead. This inner function calls the original divide function with the arguments 2 and 5 and returns the result, which is 0.4. Similarly, when we call the divide function with the arguments 2, 0, the inner function checks that b is equal to 0 and prints an error message before returning none. Chaining decorators in Python. Multiple decorators can be chained in Python. To chain decorators in Python, we can apply multiple decorators to a single function by placing them one after the other, with the most inner decorator being applied first. The above syntax of is equivalent to the order in which we chain decorators matter. If we had reversed the order as, the output would be. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe Brain Talks.